In a fight that now will go into history, Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall raised the level of women's boxing to a height that is going to be extremely difficult to match. These women put on a show that forever places them in history. Let's talk. On Saturday, October 15th, live from the O2 Arena in London, England, history was made in the sport of boxing. Not just for women's boxing, but for boxing overall. Headlining the event was the showdown for undisputed middleweight supremacy between Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall. These two combatants have faced each other as amateurs, and Savannah Marshall is the only fighter to have defeated Claressa Shields in her entire boxing career. Though that was over 10 years ago in the amateurs, it still weighed mightily over the head of both fighters. And as Claressa went on to professional success, she always wanted to avenge the loss that she received when facing Marshall as an amateur. Amateur careers sometimes do not tell the entire tale of a professional fighter. So in this battle of champions, what we found was both ladies entered this match with the same records of 12-0, with Claressa having 2 KOs on her record and Savannah having 10. So Savannah being promoted as the puncher. And though she is a bigger woman and has a sizable advantage at nearly 6 feet tall, I think she's 5'11", Marshall has carved out her niche in the sport in the women's division as being a hulking, strong, power punching machine. Shields has been a technician, fast hands, fleet of foot, actually moving up and down in the weight classes, going for her 3rd opportunity as an undisputed champion here. She sought to not only avenge her amateur loss against Marshall, but to show supremacy, becoming a 2-time middleweight undisputed champion. So there was a lot of drama here. But what was totally unexpected was that these two combatants would get in the ring and fight like warriors. The two of them put on a show that is forever going to be respected. I often speak about fighters having great fights that have ebb and flow. And these two women brought that undoubtedly when they faced off. From the opening bell, Claressa looked to take the fight directly to Marshall, the puncher, the stalker, the one that people feared might really get rid of her in this match. A number of the UK broadcasters, announcers, and former fighters were picking Marshall to stop Shields, even though Shields has never come close to being stopped in a fight, even though she was dropped once in the first round against Hannah Gabriels. But this is something people have to take note of: the heart of a warrior. I had questioned going into this fight, was Savannah Marshall tough? Because we've never seen her in the type of battle where someone was giving it back to her, because she was always the one to bring the fight to her opponents and take them out. Well, on Saturday, we got our answer, and the answer assisted in making this such a highly entertaining affair. You have to respect both fighters, and that's what this is all about: raising the levels. One of the leading factors was, coming into this bout, who would lead? Where would the effective aggression come from? Well, guess what? Both fighters brought that. Marshall typically comes forward behind a little bit of upper body movement, kind of flailing her arms a little bit and looking to set up and probe with range finders to unload the heavy shots. Surprisingly, Shields jumped right at the opportunity to be aggressive and to let Marshall knew she was in there with a champion. Something far different than what Marshall has faced before. And sometimes in boxing, when a fighter has a complete package, the powers that oversee, meaning the gods, they sometimes leave something off from that fighter to basically make them mortal. And we've seen it in the past. Tommy Hearns, who's had one of the most effective offenses ever in the history of the sport and heart of a warrior, his one Achilles was sometimes his chin wasn't where his heart was. In this bout, which was definitely highly contested, we saw that Shields' Achilles may be that at this particular weight, middleweight, she just doesn't have the power to get someone out of there. And it's okay, because the skill set that she has, the ring IQ that she displays, the coaching that she receives and accepts and implements is what raises her game to another level. She does not have to rely upon power, but all of these other resources make her the complete fighter, warrior, and champion she has grown to be in the sport. So as the two faced off, what really was at stake here were their wills and competitiveness. As I said, I questioned whether Marshall would be tough enough, and in this fight, we got the answer. Marshall is a tough fighter. She is, people. She's a warrior, but she has limitations. Fighters like her can be outboxed as long as the opponent can stay out of the danger of her power and is willing to take the risk necessary to be successful against her, which is what Shields was able to do. In the post-fight, Shields spoke about, when she hit me with a hard shot, I'd come back and throw 2 or 3 of them at her. That's the mindset that you have to have in the sport of boxing in order to be competitive. I've seen Earl Spence Jr. do the same thing. It's something that a coach and trainer will explain to you. You have to have those qualities in order to compete at a certain level, which is the elite class. But everyone cannot implement that. And that's the difference here. So as these two ladies performed at the heights that they did, they raised the stakes in the sport of boxing, and they gave anyone who enjoys the sport something to have a great feeling about, as they displayed class and mutual respect in the aftermath. The build-up was one thing, the fight was exceedingly beyond what we could think it would be. And that's what boxing needs. A shot in the arm from class fighters who can compete, who can thrill, who can excite, and give boxing what it truly deserves. Competitive bouts. Salute to Savannah Marshall and Claressa Shields, the WOT. They will forever be in history, interlocked at the top of the sport. And this is one of the best championship fights that the sport of boxing could have received, particularly in the women's division. I look for great things from Shields in the future because she has definitely been anointed. Let me know what your thoughts are about how this promotion ended. And what are your thoughts on the fight? How the women competed? Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Until the next time we speak, peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.